Do you ever find yourself observing something that you don't fully understand? And because of your lack of knowledge about the content, it's all very impressive. The other day I was watching a show about bodybuilding on Netflix, and I'm sure you can tell by looking at me, I don't know anything about bodybuilding. But to me, when I saw all of these athletes on stage and they're flexing their muscles and everyone, looks so great and their bodies are, they're fine-tuned and you can tell they've worked hard on it. To me, it looked like all of them were just killing it. They're doing an amazing job. But the interesting thing was the judges who were there had some kind of expertise on this process, and they could evaluate this intelligently, and they could say this athlete gets a 9.3 and this other athlete gets a 9.7, and they could tell the difference between those two. And more importantly, they could give feedback to all of the athletes and say, if you would change this about your pose, or if you would tweak this thing on this muscle group and work harder on this area, you could, improve upon this to excellence and come back next year and score even better. And while I found that very interesting, I think the exact same thing sometimes happens with tech integration. You can walk into a classroom and you see all of the children have their Chromebooks out and they're all very busy and they're doing things, and the teacher's up integrating technology, and visually it looks very impressive. But how do we know what's really happening there with technology integration? And today that's what I want to talk about in this What's Up Wednesday. It's called the SAMR model. Now, some of you have probably heard about this, but it's time for a refresher. The SAMR model is a tool by which we can evaluate the quality of the technology integration on that learning experience. So SAMR is an acronym that stands for substitution, augmentation, modification, redefinition. Let's go through it. On the substitution level, we're integrating technology in a way that's a direct substitute with no functional change at all. So if you've historically picked up a piece of chalk or a dry erase marker, and now someone installs a brand new line panel in your classroom, now you can pick up a digital marker and write with digital ink instead. And if you do that, that would be considered a substitution. You're using technology, but it's in a way that is a direct substitute for some traditional method. Now, the next level up from that is to do augmentation. And that's where we're still using technology as a direct substitute, only now we're using it for functional improvement. So imagine you find the little shape tool that's in Promethean software, and you start to draw perfect circles in your illustrations, and you can add multiple pages. So you don't have to erase the board when you're done with it. You just go onto a new clean page, and then you can always skip back to that previous page. You're doing things with the technology that is functionally improved over that traditional method. So the next level up from that is M for modification. And this is where technology allows for a significantly improved learning experience. We're no longer just enhancing the teaching and learning experience, but we're transforming it instead. So at this level, imagine that we use our Promethean panel or our new line panel, and we start to bring in photos and videos, and we start to link out to websites. Then we're making an interactive experience that is significantly different than what we could do with chalk or with dry erase. And the last level is redefinition. At the redefinition, we're creating a learning experience that is otherwise not possible. We're doing things now with the technology that we could not do, using the same example, we couldn't do it with chalk or we couldn't do it with dry erase. Imagine that we've invited a student to participate in a lesson who is maybe, contagious and can't be at school, where they can be with us remotely through the use of our technology. Or imagine that we've brought in an expert to talk to our class about this certain topic, and they're in a remote location. These are examples of ways that we can leverage the same technology, but do it at a level that is otherwise not possible to create this learning experience. So those are 4 levels of technology integration. If you find yourself in a situation where you're lesson planning or observing and coaching lessons, you don't have to be like me watching the bodybuilding show and not really know the difference between what is, mediocre or okay versus what is something that is really excellent. You can use the SAMR model to evaluate that, and it is substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition.